Hello friends, here we will see notes on Greek tragedy. Introduction. Greek tragedy was a popular and influential form of drama performed in theatres across ancient Greece from the late 16th century BCE. The most famous playwrights of the genre were Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides, and many of their works were still performed centuries after their initial premiere. Greek tragedy led to Greek comedy, and together these genres formed the foundation upon which all modern theatre is based. It led the foundation to all other upcoming theatres in the world. The origins of tragedy. The exact origins of tragedy are debated amongst scholars. Some have linked the rise of the genre, which began in Athens, to the earlier art form, the lyrical performance of epic poetry. Others suggest a strong link with the rituals performed in the worship of Dionysus, such as the sacrifice of ghosts. A song ritual called Tragodia from the wearing of masks. Indeed, Dionysus became known as the god of theatre, and perhaps there is another connection, the drinking rites. Here we understood it is a way of worship to the god Dionysus. Later, Dionysus is considered as the god of theatre, which resulted in the worshipper losing full control of their emotions and in effect becoming another person, much as actors hope to do when performing. The music and dance of Dionysus rituals was most evident in the role of the chorus and the music provided by an altos player. But rhythmatic elements were also preserved in the use of first troic tetrameter and then iambic tetrameter in the delivery of the spoken words. The early tragedies had only one actor who would perform in costume and wear a mask, allowing him the presumption of impersonality or god. In the early days, there were only one character who used to wear mask during performance. A tragedy play performed in an open air theatre such as that of Dionysus in Athens and seemingly open to all the male populace. The plot of a tragedy was almost always inspired by episodes from Greek mythology, which we must remember were often a part of Greek religion. As a consequence of this serious subject matter, which often dealt with moral right and wrongs, no violence was permitted on the stage, and the death of a character had to be heard from off stage and not seen. Similarly, at least in the early stages of the genre, the poet could not make comments or political statements through the play, and the more direct treatment of here we saw only the plays or dramas chosen from the Greek mythology, which is related to Greek religion, and violence is not involved or it is totally prohibited on the screen. In the case of violence, it should be taken as out of drama. Contemporary events had no weight for the arrival of less courteous, the conventional genre, Greek comedy. Here we can see perhaps the link to earlier religious ritual where proceeding might have been carried out by a priest. Later, the actor would often speak to the leader of the chorus, a group of up to 15 actors who sang and danced but did not speak. This innovation is credited in the piece in c. 520 BCE. The actor also changed costumes during the performance and so break the play into distinct episodes. Phanakos is credited with the idea of splitting the chorus into different groups to represent men, women, elders, etc. In the early stages, there was only one actor who used to wear only the mask. Later, it continued the various actors, and in the play also there were many episodes started. Eventually, three actors were permitted on stage, a limitation which allowed for equality between poets in competition. However, a play could have as many non-speaking performers as required, so no doubt plays with greater financial backing could put on a more spectacular production with finer costumes and sets. Finally, Agathon is credited with adding musical interludes unconnected with her story itself. The Archon would also nominate the three Korgoi, the citizens who would each be expected to found a chorus for one of the chosen plays. The plays of the three selected poets were judged on the day. Later days, musical instruments were added. Greek tragedies competition. The most famous competition for the performance of tragedy was as part of the spring festival of Dionysus or the city Dionysia in Athens. But there were many others. Those plays which sought to be performed in the competitions of a religious festival had to go through an audition process judged by the Archon. Only those deemed worthy of the festival would be given the financial backing necessary to produce a costly chorus and rehearsal time. The Archon would also nominate the three Korgei of chosen plays. Greek tragedy was not itself intended as an immediate contribution to politicate political debate, though in its exploration of issues, sometimes by means of rapid question and answer dialogue, its debit to rhetoric is obvious. This is particularly true of some plays by Euripides, such as the Phoenician Women or Supplicant, but also of some of the Sophocles, such as Oedipus the King and Philotas. It is true that sometimes the Korgai or rich men appointed by one of the archons to finance a particular play were themselves politicians, and this is reflected in the plays produced. Themistocles was Korgos for Phoenichos, one of whose plays caused a political storm, and Pericles paid for Parmesans. Here, what happened? In the early stages of Greek tragedy or play, there were no include of political scenario, but later days political debate added to the play, because when financial support given by a rich man, if he is a politician, by encouraging him, the characters used to praise political situation or politicians. Indirectly, it went under political control. Characteristics of Greek tragedy. Chorus. Key components like the chorus tragic hero, the concept of fate, and hubris create emotional depth, guiding audience through normal dilemmas and a complexity of life. Serves as a commentator on the action, providing context and insight. Reflects the moral and social value of time, guiding audience and interpretation. Engages in dialogue with characters, enhancing emotional depth and tension. Tragic hero. Central character who is noble but flawed, eliciting audience sympathy. Typically faces a significant downfall due to their flaws or choices. Represents larger theme of human experience such as fate and morality. Hamartia, tragic flaw, a specific character trait or error that leads to the hero's downfall, often involves excessive pride, hubris, or a critical mistake in judgment, highlights the vulnerability of the hero, making their fate relatable. Catharsis, the emotional release experienced by the audience through the tragedy, evokes feelings of pity and fear, leading to the sense of purifications. Engages reflection on moral and ethical dilemmas presented in the play. 3 unities: time, place, and action. Unity of time. The action occurs within a single day, enhancing realism. Here, tragic drama, hamartia is a very important point. Hamartia in the sense, the hero, he takes decision in a wrong way which leads his tragic downfall. A unity of place, the setting remains consistent, focusing the narrative unity of action. The plot follows a single storyline without subplots maintaining clarity. Perpetia, reversal of fortune. A sudden change in circumstances of the tragic hero, often from good to bad, marks a pivotal moment in the narrative, heightening tension and drama, forces the hero to confront the consequences of their actions. Anagnosis, recognition or discovery. The moment when the hero realizes their true situation or identity often occurs in conjunction with peripecia, depending the tragedy. Peripecia in the sense the sudden changes in the situation. Sometimes hero is in very good mood, in the sense he is a king or a queen or emperor of the kingdom. Suddenly one big twist comes in his life and changes everything towards downfall. Leads to the greater understanding of fate and personal responsibility. Hubris, excessive pride or self confidence that leads the hero to disregard warnings, often a key component of hamartia, driving the hero toward their downfall. Service as a cautionary element about the dangerous overstepping human limits. Fate and free will explores the tension between predetermined destiny and individual choice. Predetermined destiny and individual choice. Characters often struggle against fate, raising questions about control and responsibility. Highlights the inevitability of certain outcomes of the one's life. Deus ex machina, a plot device an unexpected power or event resolves seemingly unsolvable problems. Here all the main word belongs to the Greek word. So in English there is no meaning for that. The same as it is the same word the poet taken or the playwrights taken as it is, often involves divine intervention, altering the course of the narrative, can serve to provide closure but may also undermine the story's internal logic. Greek tragedy, a play in which the protagonist, usually a person of importance and outstanding personal qualities, falls and disaster through the combination of a personal failing and circumstances with which he or she cannot deal. The oft appreciated tragic tale of the king Oedipus is perhaps the best known of all the Greek myths. Oedipus Rex is a very important Greek play in the Greek tragedy. What is the main theme of Greek tragedy? Tragedy dealt with the big theme of love, loss, pride, and abuse of power, and the fraught relationship between men and gods. Typically, the main protagonist of a tragic commits some terrible crime without realizing how foolish and arrogant he has been. Characteristics of Greek tragedy include the flaved tragic hero, a mix of spoken and sung narration, and some sort of intervention from the god. This intervention may be positive or negative for the hero. Achilles is widely considered the father of Greek tragedy for his innovation of dramatic structure and character development, including introducing the second actor and expanding dialogue. Principles of the Greek tragedy. Aristotle defined three key elements which make a tragedy: hamartia, anagonosis, and peripecia. The first great tragedian, Achilles, was born around 525 BCE. He produced his first drama in 498 and he had his first victory in 484. He was still working in 458 when he produced his thrilling Orestia. Achilles actually fought in the front lines against the Persians at Marathon in 490. Melpone is a muse of tragedy in Greek mythology. Wherever Greek tragedy is obsessed with the conflict between the genders, between public and private duty, between self-control and sense of helplessness. This is all about notes of Greek tragedy. If you understood, let me know in the comment box. Also, like the video and subscribe the channel. Thank you.